And so basically what that means is I manage a few different things. If you are ever part of a student org or a campus like division and you want to partner with Cawley for different career resources, you can reach out to me. I manage our wonderful group of Wayfinders who are our student peer career advisors, and I'll chat about them a little bit more. But basically, they're there to also support you in your career needs. And finally, I also help tap into, right, like what are the DEI initiatives that are going on in the broader Georgetown community, and how can Cawley be a part of that? So that's just a little bit about me. And let's get into the nuts and bolts of Cawley, because I know we don't have a lot of time. So to start, we will go through just the mission and vision of Cawley, our center structure, so you can understand where to go for what, who to go for what, how you can connect with us, and some resources. So first off, missions and values, right? What is Cawley about? So I'll just read through this. In the holistic context of the 21st century, the Cawley Career Education Center at Georgetown University is an organization committed to the Jesuit mission and values of the university, a diverse community dedicated to justice and the common good. Our priority as the career services body at Georgetown, therefore, is to achieve excellence by building infrastructure that promotes the well-being of all students in our community and celebrates our diversity. We will advocate for the needs of our students, and our partnerships and initiatives will be equitable and inclusive. We will create an environment in which all students feel heard, supported, and empowered in their lifelong career development journey. So hopefully that just gives you at least an idea of the rallying vision, right, that all of us at Cawley aspire to accomplish, right, in our programming and how we advise and the way that we are run as a center. So super quickly, I just want to highlight the road to career success. This is in some of our materials, but a lot of times, right, people think it's just smooth ride, linear, right? Everything comes one after the other, right? Just like a straight shot. But actually, it's what it looks like on the right? There's like a lot of squigglies, there's a lot of turns left and right. Maybe you go forward, you go backward, you go left, right, but ultimately you end up where you need to be. And the reason why I want to highlight this is simply because one, like it's not always a straight shot, and that's completely okay, right? Along your career journey and your time at Georgetown, you may like change your major. You may try out a variety of different extracurricular activities, take electives and internships and whatnot. And all of that is wonderful, right? Like it gives you the ability to take in new information and decide for yourself, what do you like and what do you not like, right? What are you interested in? What are you not interested in? What are you good at? And what do you want to grow in, right? And the reason why I point all of these things out is because for us as a career center, what we aim to do is to simply guide you and support you along the way, right? We can't always give you the answer because there might not be one, right? But we want to help you figure out what are the questions you should be asking and how can we get you to where you want to be, right? And all the turns and slips and slides and like charges moving forward. So the other thing that I also really want to highlight as we get started is that your major does not equal your career, right? I've seen so many students who've had, right, similar academic backgrounds in terms of the same major, but every single individual that I've ever talked to or advised or counseled has a unique combination of skills and interests that allow them to apply their future degree in a variety of different fields. And so different majors, right, can make certain careers more accessible. Like if you want to go into pre-med, you should probably take, right, a science class or two. But to be honest, there's no predetermined route to reach your ideal career. I've had friends who studied business that went into med school. I've had friends that like interned or that worked at a restaurant all summer and went into like consulting, right? Like it just, there's no set path. And that's like the wonderful thing about like your career development process throughout the course of your time here at Georgetown. And so as a university, also as a community, right, we're preparing students for a variety of careers, and our staff are happy to work with you to figure out what is the best path forward. And then also really quickly, I just want to highlight this career development cycle. there's a lot to it, right? There's introspection, information gathering, preparing materials, right? Like your resume, your cover letter, so on and so forth. Cultivating relationships and making connections. Sometimes that's with alumni. That might be with those of us in our staff, on staff, your professors. It might be applying, right? And so one thing that I really want to note is that this is a cycle, and it just because like you started introspection doesn't mean like the introspection is one and done, right? Like you can enter at different parts of this cycle and exit at different parts of the cycle. You might go forward, go back, so on and so forth. And that's completely okay, right? Like, as we're saying, like this is all a process. So some things that in recognizing that this is a process and a cycle that I want to inform all of you, and I hope you can like really take this to heart. One, you are not behind, right? Like everyone is somewhere in this cycle, and it's like a lifelong process, even after you leave Georgetown. So just know that, right? It's okay if you don't know where to begin, right? Just start with one thing. And maybe that's introspection. Maybe that's like talking to someone and getting to learn more about like what they do. Or maybe it's you want to get to know yourself better and you start with like your resume or your cover letter, and you find that you discover a lot of things as you're doing that, right? Like the previous image, this is not linear, right? It's a whole variety of different ways that it can go. And so there's just something I want to help you all keep in mind. So what's the organizational structure of Cawley? So here's how we're structured. First, we have our career exploration team. And so if you're just getting started, you are kind of like, I don't know where to begin. I don't know what to study, or I have so many interests. How do I like winnow it down? We are happy to help you there. So we have dedicated career counselors and counseling interns who are there to walk with you, right? Figure out and determine like what are those priorities that you want to lean into, what are the identities that you really want to explore during your time at Georgetown. And an extension of that, we also have wayfinders who are peer career counselors. So these are juniors and seniors who have been trained up by us to be able to also answer some of your questions, right? Those resume reviews, those cover letter reviews, what resources are available to me at Georgetown as a student, right? What has your experience been? Our wayfinders are super happy to be able to answer those questions and help you out as well. The next team that we have is the industry advising team, and that's where Jackie and Jody sit, who are fantastic. So our industry advisors, what they do is if you want to learn more about a specific industry, or you have your heart set on an industry or company and you want to figure out like how can I strategically right, like make myself a good candidate, right, or frame my application materials in a way that puts me like at the top, our industry advisors are there and happy to walk you through it. So the industries that they cover are multitudes. They cover business, finance, consulting, health, science, analytics, tech, arts, media, entertainment, government, education, nonprofit, pre-law. So really like the whole gamut, right? And so if those are specific category interests that you're wanting to talk more about, I would totally point you to them. We also have industry ambassadors. So some of them take one-on-one appointments that you can make through Handshake. And these are students that, and ultimately all of our student industry ambassadors have been vetted by Jackie, right? That have industry experience that can speak to, right, their experiences in recruiting and researching, so on and so forth. They're super helpful. Some of them you can make appointments with through Handshake, and some of them you can reach out to on Hoya Gateway. So I would highly encourage you to reach out to them, especially if you want even just like a student perspective, right, on what navigating these spaces look like. And then the final team that I would encourage you to just be aware of is our on-campus recruiting team. So we have a fantastic recruiting team that manages the conversation and the logistics between when do specific companies come on, or right now come virtually, right? But hopefully very soon, right? Like come on campus to present information sessions, to hold interviews. This is the team that you can go to where like if you ever have application questions, you want to reserve an interview room, you have questions just about like what that process looks like, they are happy to help you out in that regard. So that's just a super quick idea of how we are structured at Cawley. So how can you connect with us? Because we want to be there to support you. We are happy to answer your questions. And so the easiest ways that you can connect with us this semester. So first, attend drop-ins. We have drop-ins from 1 to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. They're currently virtual, right? But knock on wood, we can go back to in person on January 31st. But drop-ins is really great because it's pretty low pressure. You can just join the Zoom room, and you may or may not have a quick little wait, but it's a general 15-minute appointment to ask any quick questions, right? Maybe you just want an overview of Handshake, or maybe you have a resume you just want to get like a look over before you submit it, right? So on and so forth. Drop-ins are really nice because it's a very bite-sized chunk of an appointment for you to be able to come in, come out. And then if you decide you want to make a longer appointment, then you can log into Handshake. So Handshake is a platform where you can not just sign up for appointments, but RSVP for different events and information sessions. We have workshops, companies have workshops on there. And so I would highly encourage you to also familiarize yourself with Handshake because it's a platform that you will utilize again and again, especially in the career space. So, and just a note that appointments are also virtual, and I'm sure you all we'll all get right further correspondence to confirm that things are in person and right, move forward with that. So something else, I encourage you to check out our newsletters. All of the industry advisors, as well as the General Career Center, send out newsletters on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And so you can subscribe to our newsletter mailing list through the Cawley website, which I would navigate out of, but then I have to go back into this presentation. But if you just go into, if you just even put in your search bar Cawley Career Center newsletters, the first link that should come up in the results section is the actual subscription, the subscribe form. And so that's what it looks like on the that's what it looks like, on the website. And so this is just an example, right? We have government and nonprofit. Here we have our business newsletter that came out. Here's health and science, and there's analytics and tech. And so I really encourage you to check out the newsletters. These newsletters not only include incredibly like helpful tidbits from all of our industry advisors, they include upcoming events, jobs that you can apply to, articles that'll help you just even think critically about the industry and, you know, perhaps your place in it. So that would be our newsletters. Excuse me. So next are resources. I apologize for going so quickly. There's only so much you can squeeze into 20 minutes, but if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot the Career Center an email. We're happy to walk you through any of this, make an appointment, right? Come to drop-ins. So some resources that I also quickly want to highlight. Our website is actually a great source of just general information and anything else you might want to know. So here we have like a major and career guide section where it can lead you on some activities of self-exploration if you don't want to come in for an appointment or you don't have time. There's also a really great section on like, what can I do with my major, where every single major across all 4 schools, we have a page on, and it talks about like, what are the skills that you gain? What are some of the sample internships and like full-time opportunities people with this major have gone on to do? So it's super nice. Something else that's a part of our website is post-graduation outcomes. Maybe you want to know like, hey, the graduating seniors that are like in my major, or like if I'm exploring majors, what did they end up doing? If you go to the post-grad outcomes part of our website, you can access like our pliable tool to be able to see who, like not exactly who, but like the number of people that graduated, right? Where did they end up going? What employers are they working for? What are their actual position title? And hopefully that can provide some inspiration on some places that you might consider working at, right? And then one other thing that I also want to highlight, we have a great section on resources for diverse populations. So based on like the identities that you may possess, hopefully some of these resources can also be helpful, right? We have diversity talent pipelines that are on there. We highlight resources for students of color, international students, LGBTQ. And so I highly encourage you to just dive into the website if you have time. Another really useful platform that we provide access through Georgetown and through our website is Resume Worded. So Resume Worded is a platform that provides AI-based feedback on your resume. So it will, like, for instance, maybe it's like 1 a.m. You're working on a resume, right? There are no available appointments. You can absolutely use Resume Worded and like plop your resume in, and it'll provide some AI-based feedback, right? On content, on structure, on style. I want to know that it is optimized for business-based resumes, and it may spit out a number that is like a little alarming. Take it with a grain of salt, right? Like these platforms and the ones that I'm going to mention afterwards, but especially Resume Worded, it's not like the end all be all. Like, use it as like a guide to provide some good tips, but please don't let whatever number it spits out like discourage you, right? Because this is a process for everyone, and there's a limit to how helpful these tools can be without like you sitting in front of someone and getting like personalized human feedback. So I just want to make that caveat. Yes, and then what's also really nice about Resume Worded is they have like a career tools section. And so it includes checklists to organize like tasks that you might want to consider for your job search. They have like a plethora of different templates based on like networking emails you might want to send, cover letters, resumes, things like that. So I highly encourage you to check out this tool. Another tool that we also have is called Big Interview. So Big Interview is our virtual interviewing resource. And so what it provides is, there we go, videos that will walk students through popular questions that are asked, why these questions are asked, and common stumbling blocks for those when they're answering, and how to formulate your answer. So depending on how comfortable you are with interviews, this tool is really helpful, not just to provide a curriculum, but provide you a space to record yourself answering questions, allowing you to watch the video through, and like you even being able to pick out like, oh, I said a lot of ums or likes, or I didn't really answer the question, or, you know, the timer went on too long before I could get to my story. And so this is also a really useful tool to help you practice interviewing, especially in the space that we're currently at. As employers utilize more and more virtual interviewing, this is a super helpful tool to also get you used to that. I forgot to put it on here, but we also offer mock interviews at the Cawley Career Center. And so if you go on to Handshake, you can also sign up for mock interviews where we have both wayfinders and staff and counseling interns who will provide mock interviews, provide you with feedback. So it's also super useful. I know we're at time, so really quickly, I'm just going to say that we have a really wonderful tool that's tailored towards international student needs called InnerStride. Basically, what it can do is it can provide you with like visa insights, but it can also provide you with things like country insights if you're looking to work for a specific country, provides like cost of living, relocation, like what might you have to consider, right, in terms of cost of living, relocation. In the job section that I moved through really quickly, it also highlights by industry, by company, right? What are the companies that did H-1B visas and whatnot? So this is incredibly useful. We just onboarded this tool this year, and when I tell you, it's far and above the last one, even in terms of like user experience and whatnot. So InnerStride, and then finally Firsthand. So Firsthand used to be it incorporates a website that we used to heavily depend on called Vault. And this is a really useful tool if you want to do some research in terms of jobs, internships, profession, industry, so on and so forth. And so you have access to this website through, again, the Cawley website. This is just an idea, like there are featured rankings, right, of different companies. There's also, right, like what are some professions, some that are featured, but you can also just look at a large list. Same thing with industries here, right? Like any industry that you might possibly be interested in, these are all things to consider. So to wrap up super quickly, I'd encourage you to, like, in terms of moving forward, take your time to explore. Again, I know I went through this really quickly, but just find one thing that hopefully you found interesting in this presentation and just explore it a little bit, right? Maybe it's the majors pages, maybe you want to make an appointment, maybe you want to do some self-introspection, but yeah, there's you have so many opportunities at your hands. I really encourage you to like find something and run with it. Talk to someone, right? And know that you're not in this alone. Maybe it's an older mentor, maybe it's a professor, maybe it's one of us, right? We are all happy to help guide you through the different career questions that you may have. And then finally, apply your new knowledge, right? Take this opportunity to try different internships, fellowships, clubs, research opportunities. Yeah, or even perhaps like a class that's outside of your comfort zone, right? Sometimes like really impactful opportunities and experiences come from like embracing the unexpected or embracing something that fell into your lap.